welcome back. It's almost over. So if you want to get your last dose for the week of Liquid Lunch, because it's going to be a nice, long, relaxing weekend for Frankie and I, stay tuned. Do not move away from that television set because there's only 27 minutes and 30 seconds left in today's Liquid Lunch. Dow Jones just peeking its head above 300 up today after a tumultuous week. I'd like to see it close on a high note for this week. Bring some people back next week looking to find some values. And, Money Monday is when we talk about everything that's going on. So to warm you up for Money Monday, on Friday, we have Rebecca Walser with us. She is a wealth strategist. She's a certified financial planner. And she's also the author of a best-selling book. And you're a media star. And you're everywhere. You make a few minutes to join us on our humble little show, Liquid Lunch. But what's happening? You're a tax attorney. The Trump tax plan has probably given you many joyous benefits for you and your clients who know how to read it properly. Right. What's happening with our economy, and what does our audience need to know? We have a lot of baby boomers in our audience, and they rely on interest income, so they're kind of hurt that the rates are coming down.
Right, I know.
But borrowers are happy, and banks are happy because they can make more loans. What does our audience need to know right now about this economy?
Well, I think that the fundamentals are still very, very strong. And so everyone should take a deep breath and a pause and not freak out and make these crazy, moves too quickly, because we in the United States are really strong. What's happening is the rest of the world, partly brought on by Trump's, a tariff war, which is he rightfully so. First president to ever have the gumption to actually take on China and their Made in 2025 plan, which, by the way, is the end of America as we know it. They don't want to be our cheap outsourced labor source anymore. So Trump sees that in their Made in China 2025 plan, and he's taking it on. But the tariff war does cause global slowdown when you've got economies like Germany, Japan, and, of course, China that rely purely on exporting. And now that exporting is being put a little bit in jeopardy. That causes a slowdown globally, which now is sort of coming and creeping to our shores. Although fundamentally we have great unemployment rates, strong wage labor growth, and great GDP numbers under President Trump. And I call his tax code beautiful, just so everyone understands. I know any tax code is not beautiful, but this is a beautiful tax code.
When in this day and age, guys can't call anything beautiful. You know what I mean? That's an automatic Me Tooer. But
that's right.
I think we could agree on this one that we can call a tax code beautiful.
This
right?
one we can.
That might be allowed. Yeah. I ring the bell when people agree on things.
Thank you.
Frankie, you're our resident producer. This guy gets us all the best guests.
Well, clearly we got Rebecca. But Rebecca, so let me ask you. We saw this week the stock market have its worst day of the year so far, and it also was coupled with reports that there was an inverted yield curve, which a lot of people are saying is normally a precursor to a recession. Do you think we're headed towards a recession?
Wow, it's a hard one. So the ultimate answer is eventually a recession will come. And recessions are cyclical like anything else. And this is the longest and most unprecedented. We have over a 10-year economic expansion, the longest in the U.S. history. So eventually, yes, a recession will come. If the entire world is globally slowing down and the United States still has good fundamentals, eventually it will come to our shores, trade war or not. That being said, the inverted yield curve this week between the 2 and the 10 is unusual in the sense that we know that the Federal Reserve has not been buying short-term treasuries like they normally do. And so the demand for that has been weaker. And the long-term growth projection it's being affected by other factors. So it's not a normal yield curve inversion. And one thing to clarify, so people understand out there the importance of this, every recession we've had since the last 50 years basically has been preceded by an inversion on the yield curve. That is true, and that's why it's taken so seriously. However, there have been slight inversions over the years that have not indicated a recession. So it's not that every time we get an inversion, there's a recession. Every time there's a recession, there's been an inversion. So it's not an outright indicator that we are definitely going to have a recession. But, viewers at home should know we've had 10 years of an expansion, and, the economy is cyclical. And because we have a president who's willing to take on unfair trade practices where no president has been willing to do that before, there is some short-term pain. But let me just say, short-term pain means long-term gain. There's no reward long-term if we don't take steps now to make sure that the United States stays dominant economically for the rest of forever. China wants that position, and if we don't take these steps now, they will surpass us and it'll be over.
Well, I'm with you, and I actually was a little disappointed that the president delayed the implementation of these tariffs until December. I was all for this hard and fast September 1st date. Do you think the country has the appetite and the backbone, quite frankly, to do the financial sacrifice necessary, pay higher prices, maybe see a little downturn in GDP growth if it means going forward with this and tough with China policy?
I wish I could say yes, but I have to say, being in this world, you know that we track this market by the nanosecond. And if something gets tweeted out and the market drops, people, sort of freak out. So I wish Americans could understand where we are and the precarious nature of our global position as the economic leader, and where China is so close and will surpass us if we don't take these steps, because that is where we are, Frank. We need to look at the long term and say, okay, so our shoes and Walmart are going to be so cheap, but we'll be the dominant player forever.
Like it. In the long term, we're going to like it because more stuff is going to be made here.
And people will have jobs here.
A couple pennies more. I just want to add to the end of that, when you said, just because the yield curve is inverted, that doesn't necessarily mean there has to be a recession. They're kind of unrelated. They've been, a foreshadowing of events. But never before in history have we come out of zero interest rates and negative interest rates, and then had such a turbocharge on unemployment and growth and stuff. So we're in uncharted territory, and I think the market is good. But don't listen to me. Listen to the best. She's a expert, Rebecca Walser, and go out and check out her book, and tune into Fox News tomorrow. She'll be there after you watch Liquid Lunch. You're watching Liquid Lunch. We'll be back right after this.